Hello there. Good morning. Dungeon Acid here. I've got a bowl of Cocoa Ruse. And I'm enjoying this morning as well as a cup of Earl Grey. And as the old country song goes, it's faster horses, younger women, older whiskey, and more money. That's right. Today on RPG A Day, the buzzword is change. Oh, I got a 1. And no, it's not change how you're thinking. I'm going to be talking about changes in coinage, money, moolah, cash, treasure, as our miniature of the day, a little pirate guy, would be happy to talk about. So money in fantasy role-playing games and, more specifically Dungeons & Dragons. Always been part of the game. Originally awarded XP for how much money you got at the end of the dungeon. Gold coins and earning money so you can then spend the money to buy neat things. That's one of the core pillars of why a lot of people, I think, play D&D or fantasy tabletop role-playing games. And there is definitely something to be said for building up that, imaginary bank account and ogling what you might buy, building a fortress, hirelings, starting your own faction, starting your own business in game, living out a lot of those kind of monetary fantasies as well as your own adventure fantasies, I suppose. But normal D&D, it can get kind of bland the way that they do money, or it can get kind of tedious or nonsensical. You can have these people walking around with bags of hundreds of gold coins and no logical reason as to why they have that on their person, and people in the world aren't taking it seriously or acting like they're acting like, oh, of course they have 500 gold pieces on them. They're adventurers, and it's like, wouldn't bandits be trying to attack them, or people be considering them like nobles? Wouldn't nobles run up to them and be like, hey, have you paid taxes? So all these things can kind of help make money, that coinage, seem more real in D&D. I'm also in favor of making the coins feel like they belong in the world. So, who mints these coins? What do they have on them? Why are they shaped or carved in the way they are? I like to think that the dwarves make the gold coins, and in my world they're called dwarven crowns, and they have a crown of the dwarven king on them, because the dwarves, of course, have the biggest mine, and they have the most access to gold, and so they're like, yeah, if we're going to mint a currency, it's going to be gold. But the humans, in the human kingdom of Calador, they're the ones making silver coins, the silver sovereigns, because for them, silver is kind of the best they can do on such a wide scale. But enough about normal, boring, copper, silver, gold. What are some alternate money systems you can implement in your fantasy tabletop role-playing games? Well, I'm here to talk about 3. The first of which is going to come from a little game that was very formative to my childhood called RuneScape. Yes, in the fabled time of 2007, at the height of RuneScape's peak, I, along with all of my classmates, were enamored with this wonderful fantasy MMORPG, and unlike its pay-to-play counterpart World of Warcraft, RuneScape did not have a copper, silver, gold money system. It had a very simple coins. There was just coins. They were gold in the way they looked, but it was just coins. Everything was a flat currency, and I am actually in favor of using that in D&D because, the conversion, the complexity of all these weird I have 9 gold, 8 silver, and 2 copper, and then you're gonna buy something that costs 2 gold, 5 silver, and you're like, all right, let me do the math in my head, and you're kind of having to get out a calculator. Sometimes it's just easier to say, hey, it's coins, all right? So if you're going to implement this in D&D, I would, here's what I would do. Make the 1 coin about the approximate value of a silver in the player's handbook, and anything less than a silver, just round up to 1 silver or 1 coin, and then scale it that way. You can also just have the coins be their own value system and forget the PHB values and just say, like, all right, well, swords are 10 coins, armor is 25 coins, a magic item would be 100 coins if they had one to sell you, and a meal or to buy a meat and a flank of meat costs 2 coins or something like that, right? Or 1 coin. It certainly makes it simpler and a little bit easier for your players to keep track of. All right, what's another alternate system? Well, number 2 is going to be stolen from an RPG called Gamma World. And in Gamma World, there is no actual currency. Instead, a barter system is used. And for much of human history, indeed, a barter system was also implemented. So, while you may scoff at no money, then what am I going to, buy and spend stuff on? Well, if it's not really important to your play group, perhaps a post-apocalyptic, just straight-up RPG, or a post-apocalyptic fantasy RPG like Dark Sun, and the people are like, what am I going to do with this coin? This coin doesn't put water in my water skin and food on my table. So, water, food, metals that can be used for weapons, or indeed just weapons, become the new currency. Goods that can be traded, rations, tack, rope, everything useful, torches, all the things that your players would normally be spending their D&D money on becomes the money. And then you have the fun of using those charisma checks to, like, oh yes, I'll give you 4 torches for, that crate of supplies there, and then you haggle it down. No, I think, 4 torches and your horse. Oh, that's far too much. So, barter and trade. That's a separate system. And number 3 is stolen from a video game you might have heard of called Minecraft. And for those unfamiliar, in Minecraft, there are randomly generated villages, populated by villagers. And these villagers use a very strange system of currency if you want to buy things from them. They use emeralds. Yes, if you are mining throughout the world and you happen to across some emerald, deposits, you can take those emeralds to the villagers, and certain villagers, have better deals than others, and then trade those emeralds. And I always found this to be fascinating, because how cool would it be as a D&D party that you come across some village or some kingdom, and they look at the money that the players have, and we're like, what is this? Why would we want this? But for whatever reason, maybe it's a religious thing that they worship, and that these crystals are sacred to them somehow, or perhaps it is just the scarcity of these emeralds and how they can prove that they're so hard to find. But for whatever reason, they use a gem-based economy, and it's one. It's like four emeralds go into 1 sapphire, and 4 sapphires go into 1 ruby, and 4 rubies go into 1 diamond, or something like that. Maybe it's a long lost civilization of dwarves, and they've gone past your primitive coin-based economy and now use jewels and rubies. And I think that's interesting. I think it has the same feel of coinage, but maybe can make your world a bit different. But then again, of course, you can always go with the classic golden doubloons, stack your treasure chest full of looted valuables, and head for the hills, as a good adventurer should. Well, roll on. Thanks for watching, and I have a link to my blog where I post more on this subject as well. Thanks for watching.